ready whenever you
All
are.
right, Mr. Jimena, do you want to make the motion for Schwan? Sure. Okay. I'd like to call to order the Cuyahoga County Council regular meeting for Tuesday, December the 9th. Madam Clerk, will you call the roll?
Calling the roll, Mr. Hairston? Here. Ms. Simon? Mr. Greenspan? Mr. Miller? Here. Mr. Brady?
Here.
Mr. Germana? Here. Mr. Gallagher? Here. It's my understanding that Mr. Schron is absent this evening. Ms. Conwell?
Here.
Mr. Jones?
Here.
And Ms. Conley?
Here.
There is a quorum.
Mr. Jimena?
So we excuse Mr. Schrein from tonight's meeting?
Moved by Mr. Jimena and seconded by Mr. Gallagher. All those in favor indicate by saying aye. Aye. Opposed? The ayes have it. Please mark Mr. Schron as excused, and let's rise for the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. For our silent meditation this evening, we'd like everyone to reflect on their own personal reflections. All right, moving on to item 5. Is there any public comment related to the agenda?
Madam Chair, there is not.
Okay. Just a reminder that the books, which are killed a whole bunch of trees for this meeting, contain a number of documents that we will be needing again in committee, or you will be needing again in committee. So please save them. I'm not sure if Jean's going to pick them up, or you can put them in the cubicles next to your desk, put your name on them, but don't throw them away. We got to save these ones. Okay, item 6, approval of minutes. The minutes of the regular meeting of November 25th, 2014, and the Committee of the Whole of December 2nd, 2014 are in your packet. If you had an opportunity to review those minutes, I'll entertain a motion to accept them as circulated.
So moved. Second.
Moved by Mr. Harrison, seconded by Ms. Conwell. Any discussion on the minutes? All those in favor indicate by saying aye. Aye. Opposed? The ayes have it.
Madam
And-
President?
Yes.
I'll have to abstain from the November 25th vote.
Okay. Mark, Mr. Greenspan has abstained. All right, I will pass on announcements, and Mr. Fitzgerald.
Thank you very much, Madam President. Just a couple things quickly. One is yesterday we had the official opening of the Family Justice Center, which this council has been very supportive of that concept. Judge Adrian has really been quite the champion of this for a number of years. The dialogue around the whole Family Justice Center concept, which I know council is familiar with this, but just for any members of the public that may not be aware, this is to ensure that somebody, particularly somebody, let's say, that's been a victim of domestic violence, is not shuttled around from place to place to place, different locations, that there's one place where they can get the supportive services that they need so that they can get back on track with their lives and get the supportive services that are available to them. So it officially opened yesterday. Our own Jill Smilek from our Witness Victim Program, which the county funds, is directing the efforts there. It was also a time, by the way, yesterday to recognize the contributions of the late Janet Cronenberg, who passed away a couple years ago now, who was also a champion of this whole concept. It's been done in a couple dozen cities across the United States. There's been a lot of focus this year about domestic violence. It got some media attention yesterday, but this is something that I hope for many years to come is going to be a real resource for those that find themselves in that situation. Secondly, I just wanted to mention briefly, it's one of the last items, actually I think it's the last item that's on your agenda today, but just wanted to say a word in advance about item 02014-0037. This is co-sponsored by Councilman Jones and myself. This is, again, has been in many ways a 4-year effort. We wanted to introduce it before the end of the council administration and the executive administration. There's been an enormous amount of work, not just to creating a disparity study, but creating a whole structure for a community benefits Opportunity Initiative. This is something that Councilman Jones has been tireless about. A lot of other folks have been on council as well. A tremendous amount of work that has gone into this. We're certainly not going to finish the discussion this evening. It's the beginning of the official discussion of this piece of legislation. I'm sure there'll be many additions and clarifications to it. But this is something that I wanted to make sure that was introduced before I left. We have made some incredible progress when it comes to development in the city of Cleveland and greater Cleveland in terms of economic development funds and programs. But all of that will be for naught if it isn't felt in the community in an equitable, in a just, and in a fair way. And as much emphasis as we've had in this administration on economic development, it isn't going to be complete if we don't have a system that ensures that we're going to pay fair wages and that those economic benefits are distributed in the community in a way that is equitable for everybody in this community, regardless of race, creed, color, zip code, gender. And this is a way to try to make that a formal policy that has real teeth and real enforceability that I think will be I hope will be a model for other institutions in this community. So I would appreciate your favorable consideration as we're at just the beginning of the legislative process with it. Thank you very much, Madam President.
Thank you, Mr. Fitzgerald. All right, item 9, legislation introduced by council, consideration of a resolution of council for first reading adoption or suspension of the rules. This item needs a motion to suspend rules 9D and 12A.
Madam President, I move to suspend the rules.
Second.
Moved and seconded to suspend the rules. All those in favor indicate by saying aye. Aye. Opposed, the ayes have it. Madam Clerk, we read the item.
Resolution number 2014-0290, a resolution approving the charter of County of Cuyahoga, Ohio, as amended through November 4th, 2014, and declaring the necessity that this resolution become immediately effective.
Second.
Moved by Mr. Miller and seconded by Ms. Simon. I never understood this because the voters voted this in. It's in the charter, and then we have to adopt it. What if we didn't adopt it?
It has nothing to do with the legal effect or impact of the amendments that were adopted by the charter. They're absolutely legally binding the second that 30 days from when the election is certified. It is with the reprinting of the charter, a process to ensure that it's correctly reprinted into the charter.
Okay.
And that's what this is.
Okay. All right, any other questions about that?
President, just that I'm proud to see sections 14.01 and 14.02, which are the voting rights section. So I'm particularly proud to see this in print here.
All right, all those in favor indicate by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? The ayes have it. Next item, committee reports and consideration of a resolution of council for second reading adoption or suspension of the rules. These items have been to committee, and so we need a motion to suspend Rule 9D, which would require a third reading.
Madam President, I move to suspend the rule.
Second.
Moved by Mr. Gallagher, seconded by Mr. Germano. All those in favor indicate by saying aye. 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 Opposed? The ayes have it. First item.
Resolution number 2014-0264, a resolution determining the services and programs that shall be provided and funded from the Veterans Services Fund in 2014, authorizing payments to various providers in the total amount of $241,867.20 for said services and programs for the period ending December 31, 2015, authorizing the county executive to negotiate and execute any necessary agreements, contracts, or other documents for same, and declaring the necessity that this resolution become immediately effective.
Thank you, Madam
Motion,
President.
make a motion to adopt.
Motion to adopt.
Second.
All right, moved by Mr. Greenspan and seconded by Ms. Simon. Mr. Greenspan.
Great, thank you, Madam President. As we've discussed before, this legislation actually is part of some sweeping legislation that we've enacted that is changing the way services are offered to veterans as a result of unspent money from the Veteran Service Commission. To be brief, every county in the state has a Veteran Service Commission, and by law, by ORC, any unspent money must be returned to the county, and the county has in the past put the money in all counties into their general fund, and it is often not used, as we've learned, for veterans issues. We, a few years ago, passed legislation that requires us to use those funds for veterans and veterans-related issues and their families. And this is the second year appropriation. The first year's appropriation was nearly $750,000, and it's been projected through reports that we've helped over 6,000 veterans and their families with the redistribution of these funds. Those are veterans and their families that would not have seen a benefit had we not acted. This year, the amount returned to the county is much less, partially due to a reduction in property tax valuations and also an expectation of an expanded delivery of service through the Veteran Service Commission. The first 20% of the money has already been appropriated to Tri-C and Cleveland State for scholarships, and this is the remaining money which will be distributed as is listed in the agenda and is listed in the legislation. We are hopeful, I say we, speaking a little more generously, that the state will take heed to what we're doing here and provide Veteran Service Commissions with a little more flexibility and latitude in spending this money towards veterans. We're the only county in the state that does this, and I would urge my colleagues for their support.
Yeah, this has really been, I have to thank Mr. Greenspan on this. He's been the mover and shaker on this. And we've given money to the Veterans Court, to legal aid, to a number of really worthwhile projects. And what 20% has to go for scholarships. So this has really been a worthwhile project. Sorry, any other discussions on this?
I'd just like to comment that monies have also been given to Economic and Community Development Institute to help veterans to start businesses and strengthen their existing businesses. So, thank you.
Madam President, what's particularly nice about this piece of legislation is all of us had some input and really brought in some of our really good ideas. And the Land Bank got money the first round and was able to create a revolving loan fund, so they don't need any additional funds, but they're using that money now repeatedly to really enable veterans to have individual housing. So.
And actually, the money is essentially recycled because, like, they hire people at legal aid, they hire people at the Veterans Court and the various agencies. So it really is it's really an economic engine. So, all right, anything else? All right, all those in favor indicate by saying aye. Aye. Opposed? The ayes have it.
Excuse me, Madam Chair, is the proposed substitute not on the table?
Oh, wait, that's right. You got to make a motion. Go back, retract that.
You're right. Thank you.
That's your fault, Greenspan.
Yep, thank you, Madam Clerk. That is my fault. So before us is a proposed substitute, and the substitute is very simple. In the expectation of the use of these funds is that, as was appropriated by the ORC, that they be expended within the current year. There's a request to provide funding in the form of $20,000 to the Fisher House, and the Fisher House is in the midst of raising $3.5 million in order to fund a Fisher home here in Cuyahoga County around our VA. The amendment is very simple. It's on page 88 in the agenda. It basically says that the Fisher House has 3 years to reach its funding level, or this money will be redeposited back into the fund for distribution for future veterans issues. So I would offer an amendment, a substitute to Resolution 2014-0264, which is on page 86 in our agenda, which outlines the amendment, the substitute as described.
Second.
Okay, so moved by Mr. Greenspan, and I heard Mr. Germana first to second it, to adopt the substitute. So all those in favor of adopting the substitute indicate by saying aye. Aye. Opposed? The ayes have it. So we now will have the substitute as the one going forward. So now we need to take another vote on the substituted resolution. All those in favor indicate by saying aye. Aye. Opposed? The ayes have it. Thank you, Jean. Now, the next items are all under the Clean Fund, Ohio Fund for Clean Green Space, and I think we can authorize Jean to make a short reading rather than have to read all of the titles.
Thank you, Madam Chair, for directing me to do that. Resolution number 2014-0277, This first item I will read in its entirety and then do the brief title on the rest of them. A resolution supporting an application for funding under the Clean Ohio Fund Green Space Conservation Program available through the Ohio Public Works Commission on behalf of West Creek Conservancy for the conservation of ecologically significant areas along the Baldwin Creek corridor and declaring the necessity that this resolution become immediately effective.
Move to adopt.
Moved by Ms. Simon and seconded by Mr. Jimana. Ms. Simon?
Thank you very much, Madam President. The series of resolutions you see before us will be necessary for the applicants to include in their packet to be qualified to even be considered to receive the funding from the state of Ohio. These are all worthy projects. They're from all over our district, a lot in Parma, but we're hopeful that these will get through. I think 100% of the grants last year that came before us were actually granted. Really nice, significant projects. So that's the series you'll see before us, and we need the resolutions.
All right, any other discussion? All right, all those in favor indicate by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? The ayes have it. Next item.
Resolution number 2014-0278, supporting an application on behalf of West Creek Conservancy for ecologically significant areas along the West Creek Reservation, Phase 4.
That.
Seconded by Mr. Hairston. Any discussion on this item?
No.
All those in favor indicate by saying aye.
Resolution number 2014-0279, supporting an application on behalf of City of Bedford Heights for ecologically significant areas along the Solon Road Preserve.
Move to adopt.
Moved by Ms. Simon, seconded by Mr. Miller. Discussion? All those in favor indicate by saying aye.
Aye.
Aye. Opposed? The ayes have it. Next item.
Resolution number 2014-0280, supporting an application on behalf of Tinkers Creek Watershed Partners for conservation of ecologically significant areas along the Bear Creek.
To adopt.
Ms. Simon, seconded by Ms. Conwell. All those in favor indicate by saying aye.
Aye.
Aye. Opposed? The ayes have it.
Resolution number 2014-0281, supporting an application on behalf of Cuyahoga County Department of Public Works for the preservation and restoration of natural open space within Stage 3 of the Towpath Trail Extension in connection with the Tremont Point Preserve and Greenway Project.
Simon, seconded by Mr. Miller.
Madam President, just to point out, this is Phase 3 of the Towpath Trail project we've been overseeing, and this will be another phase of it.
All right, all those in favor indicate by saying aye. Aye. Opposed? The ayes have it. Next item.
Resolution number 2014-0282, supporting an application on behalf of Western Reserve Land Conservancy for ecologically significant areas along Lakeshore Boulevard in the village of Bracknell.
To adopt.
Simon and seconded by Mr. Hairston. All right, all those in favor indicate by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? The ayes have it. All right, item C, committee reports and consideration of an ordinance of council for second reading, adoption under suspension of the rules. We need a motion to suspend Rule 9D. This item is time sensitive.
Madam President, I move to suspend the rules.
Second.
Moved by Mr. Gallagher and seconded by Mr. Jimana. All those in favor indicate by saying aye. Aye. Opposed? The ayes have it. The rules are suspended. Next, read the item, please.
Ordinance number 2014-0035, an ordinance amending Chapter 303 of the Cuyahoga County Code to update the Civil Service Code of Cuyahoga County and declaring the necessity that this ordinance become immediately effective.
Moved by Ms. Conwell and seconded by Mr. Miller.
Yes, Madam Chair, this is an ordinance to amend the Chapter 303 to update the Civil Code. And I ask my colleagues to pass it.
And I guess it's time sensitive because they want to start some.
It is time sensitive, and I don't know if it matters, but in committee, we did pass it for third reading, so I'm glad you suspended the rules because it is time sensitive.
Okay. All right, any just questions? All those in favor indicate by saying aye. Aye. Opposed? The ayes have it. D, consideration of an ordinance for third reading adoption.
Ordinance number 2014-0033, an ordinance amending Chapter 701 of the Cuyahoga County Code by adding Section 701.08 and 701.09 to establish guidelines for financial management of operations and a long-term financial plan for Cuyahoga County.
Move to adopt.
By Mr. Miller and seconded by Ms. Conwell. Mr. Miller.
Madam President, my colleagues, thanks to Director Chris Murray for several helpful suggestions that were added to this legislation, and thanks to Trevor McAleer and Mike King for their help on this legislation to better define our financial management process and improve audit performance and long-term planning. I ask for your support.
This is part of a number of ordinances that Mr. Miller has introduced to improve our financial management operations, and I think this is the last one. All right, any other discussion? We had a lot of discussions about this in. Last one this year. Yeah, right, last one this year. I was thinking that, but I was trying to be nice. He's got the whole Christmas holiday, first of the year, to think up some new ones. Any other discussion? All right, all those in favor indicate by saying aye. Aye. Opposed? The ayes have it. All right. 10, legislation introduced by the executive. Consideration of a resolution of council for first reading adoption under suspension of the rules. These are all matters that have to be ruled on today, so we need a motion to suspend Rule 9D and 12A.
Madam President, I move to suspend the rules.
Second.
All right, all those in favor indicate by saying aye. Aye. Opposed? The ayes have it. The rules are suspended. First item.
Resolution number 2014-0291, a resolution amending the 2014-2015 biennial operating budget for 2014 by providing for additional fiscal appropriations from the general fund and other funding sources, for appropriation transfers between budget accounts, and for cash transfers between budgetary funds in order to meet the budgetary needs of various county departments, offices, and agencies, and declaring the necessity that this resolution become immediately effective.
Move to adopt.
By Mr. Miller and seconded by Mr. Germana. Mr. Miller.
Madam President and my colleagues, this is a non-routine resolution containing significant appropriations and year-end closeout provisions. It appropriates $30,900,000 for future road and bridge projects, mostly from state and federal sources, and appropriates $21 million for sewer maintenance work, funded mostly from fees assessed in the participating communities. It also appropriates $6,451,000 for capital projects that are being funded out of current operations from the general fund, rather from debt issuance. We have not discussed these particular projects very much, so I'm just going to make you aware of what they are. Prosecutor's Office ADA bathroom, Medical Examiner Regional Crime Lab, Justice Center pre-booking, countywide painting and carpeting, Cleveland Municipal Court 3A expansion, Court of Appeals reconfiguration, 2012 emergency storm response, Prosecutor's Office 9th floor conference room, interim administrative headquarters, fire damper inspection program, Euclid jail renovation, and desktops, laptops, and tablets. This resolution also appropriates $2 million for security costs that could not be charged back to a specific department, such as the security required for the window replacement at the Justice Center. Finally, the resolution includes routine transfers from the HHS levy for funded programs and various realignments. I ask for your support.
Thank you, Mr. Miller. Any questions regarding these items? All right, all those in favor indicate by saying aye. Aye. Opposed? The ayes have it. The next items are items that we discussed in executive session regarding collective bargaining. So you read the first item?
Resolution number 2014-0292, a resolution rejecting the report containing findings and recommendations of fact finder Nels E. Nelson regarding negotiations between Cuyahoga County and Ohio Patrolmen's Benevolent Association for a collective bargaining agreement representing approximately 149 employees in the classification of deputy sheriff, and declaring the necessity that this resolution become immediately effective.
Move to adopt.
Second.
Moved by Ms. Conwell and seconded by Mr. Germana. This item is a recommendation of the administration that we reject this item. A yes vote would accept the recommendation of the administration, and then this will send the matter to binding arbitration. Is that correct, Mr. McCoof?
That's correct. The official term is conciliation, which is effectively binding arbitration.
Okay. All right. Any questions on this item? All right, all those in favor indicate by saying aye.
Aye.
Aye. Opposed? The ayes have it. Next item.
Resolution number 2014-0293, a resolution rejecting the report containing findings and recommendations of fact finder Nels E. Nelson regarding negotiations between Cuyahoga County and Ohio Patrolmen's Benevolent Association for a collective bargaining agreement representing approximately 13 employees in the classification of deputy sergeant, and declaring the necessity that this resolution become immediately effective.
Move to adopt.
Second.
Moved by Ms. Conwell and seconded by Mr. Germana. This is an item similar to the last item. The administration is recommending we reject the report, and it will go to conciliation.
Correct.
Use the right term. All right. Any questions on this item? A yes vote would be to adopt the resolution as recommended by the administration. All right. All those in favor indicate by saying aye. Aye. Opposed? The ayes have it. Next item.
Resolution number 2014-0294, a resolution accepting the report containing findings and recommendations of fact finder Robert G. Stein regarding negotiations between Cuyahoga County and Ohio Patrolmen's Benevolent Association for a collective bargaining agreement representing approximately 556 employees in the classification of correction officer, and declaring the necessity that this resolution become immediately effective.
Moved by Ms. Simon and seconded by Mr. Hairston. This is a recommendation that we accept the findings. Any comment on this, Mr. McCoof?
Other than we recommend approval of this item.
All right, any other questions, comments? All right, all those in favor indicate by saying aye. Aye. Opposed? The ayes have it. Next item.
Resolution number 2014-0295, a resolution approving a collective bargaining agreement between Cuyahoga County and International Union, United Automobile, Aerospace, and Agricultural Implement Workers of America, UAW Region 2B, Local 70, representing approximately 35 employees in the classification of Correction Officer Corporal for the period December 31, 2014 through December 31, 2017, directing that funds necessary to implement the collective bargaining agreement be budgeted and appropriated, authorizing the county executive to execute the agreement and all other documents consistent with this resolution, and declaring the necessity that this resolution become immediately effective.
Move to adopt.
Moved by Ms. Conwell and seconded by Ms. Simon. This is a recommendation that we accept the agreement. And we discussed this in executive session.
Correct.
Any questions? All right, all those in favor indicate by saying aye. Aye. Opposed? The ayes have it. Next item.
Resolution number 2014-0296, a resolution authorizing an amendment to contract number CE 1200-260 with MHS Incorporated for transitional housing program services for the period June 1, 2012 through September 30, 2014, to extend the time period to September 30, 2015, and for additional funds in the amount not to exceed $1,213,104, authorizing the county executive to execute the amendment and all other documents consistent with this resolution, and declaring the necessity that this resolution become immediately effective.
Move to adopt.
Second.
Ms. Conwell and seconded by Mr. Germana. Is
Madam
this the
Chair.
Health and Human Service item? Mr. Brady?
Yes. Both this item and the next item came in late. These are for homeless services. We had our last Health and Human Services Committee about a week or so ago. This came in late, and it's come in late before, and there's a reason. The first one is Health and Human Service funds, but the second one is federal funds from the U.S. Department of Housing and Urban Development. And I would like to briefly, because I want to ask the council to do this. If we don't pass this, we probably won't have an opportunity till perhaps the end of January, and we really can't do that. So while I don't like to take this approach, I think it's warranted, and after 4 years, we're pretty familiar with it. But I would like to ask with the Madam Chairperson for Ruth Gillette to come up, and if she will, and just explain to us, although I've heard the explanation before, about why this is hard to sort of get our timing correct on this.
There we go. Good evening, Council, and to Councilman Brady, to the Chair. Ruth Gillette with the Office of Homeless Services, and I first would like to thank you for reading and approving these items tonight. the federal funding is awarded through a grant application process to the Department of Housing and Urban Development, which is an annual process. Because of the government shutdown in 2013, the whole process was delayed to the point that we did not receive the grant agreement until after the start date of this particular award. And then our own county processes are such that prior to entering into a contract, the grant agreement has to be signed through a public meeting, sent back to the Department of Housing and Urban Development, and then, an appropriation made again through a county council meeting, after which point the Office of Homeless Services has to submit a request for an exemption from an RFP process, after which point I can submit a contract to county council. So there's many steps involved, and some of them can't be done until, the one happens before. So I think we've worked something out with OBM around doing the appropriations earlier in the year based on a letter that we get from HUD, so not waiting for the grant agreements, but that would go into effect this coming year, hopefully. And hopefully HUD is not going to be so late because they're getting back on track, so.
Thank you.
Colleagues for their indulgence and approval.
Okay. Any other comments, questions? All right, all those in favor indicate by saying aye. Aye.
Thank you.
Opposed? The next, motion carries. Next item.
Resolution number 2014-0297, a resolution authorizing a contract with Emerald Development and Economic Network Incorporated in the amount not to exceed $1,418,232 for administration of the fiscal year 2013 Shelter Plus Care sponsor-based rental assistance program in connection with the Hearth Act Homeless Assistance Grant Program for the period August 1, 2014 through July 31, 2015, authorizing the county executive to execute the contract and all other documents consistent with this resolution, and declaring the necessity that this resolution become immediately effective.
Approval.
Moved by Mr. Brady and seconded by Ms. Conwell, and this is a similar situation.
Similar situation.
All right. All those in favor indicate by saying aye. Aye. Opposed? The ayes have it. B, consideration of a resolution of council for first reading and referral to committee.
Resolution number 2014-0298, a resolution making an award on requisition number 30446 to GB at 1910 Carnegie in the amount of $600,000 for the sale of county-owned property commonly known as the Whitlatch Building, located at 1910 Carnegie Avenue, Cleveland, authorizing the county executive to take all necessary actions and to execute all documents necessary to consummate the contemplated transactions, and declaring the necessity that this resolution become immediately effective.
Now, this will go to Public Works, and I have a note on here, is needing backup briefing, or just disregard
I'm sorry,
that?
that was my note, and I do
Okay.
have it, and you do have it at your desks as well. I
Okay.
distributed that earlier today.
Okay, but it'll go to Public Works.
Resolution number 2014-0299, a resolution adopting various changes to the Cuyahoga County non-bargaining classification plan and declaring the necessity that this resolution become immediately effective.
Goes to Human Resources.
Resolution number 2014-0300, a resolution making awards on requisition number 30873 to various municipalities and providers in the total amount of $2,758,136 for various services for the Community Social Services Program for the period January 1, 2015 through December 31, 2016, authorizing the county executive to execute the agreements, contracts, and all other documents required in connection with said awards and consistent with this resolution, and declaring the necessity that this resolution become immediately effective for all the providers in the amounts not to exceed and for the services as printed on the agenda for item number 3.
This goes to Health and Human Services.
Resolution number 2014-0301, a resolution making a Cuyahoga County 911 Consolidation Shared Services Fund Award to City of Strongsville on behalf of Southwest Emergency Dispatch Center in the amount not to exceed $234,099 for public safety answering point consolidation support for the period December 1, 2014 through December 31, 2015, authorizing the county executive to execute the agreement and all other documents consistent with said award and this resolution, and declaring the necessity that this resolution become immediately effective.
This goes to Public Safety, Justice Affairs. C, committee reports and consideration of a resolution for second reading.
Resolution number 2014-0289, a resolution authorizing amendments to contracts with various providers for staff secure shelter care services for the period March 1, 2014 through February 29, 2016 for additional funds, authorizing the county executive to execute the amendments and all other documents consistent with this resolution, and declaring the necessity that this resolution become immediately effective for the contract numbers, providers, and in the amounts not to exceed as printed on the agenda for item number 1.
This matter will be on for January the 13th, 2015, for third reading. Committee reports and consideration of a resolution for second reading adoption and suspension of the rules. We need a motion to suspend Rule 9D.
Madam President, I move to suspend the rule.
Second.
Moved by Mr. Gallagher and seconded by Mr. Germano. All those in favor indicate by saying aye. Aye. Opposed? The ayes have it. The rules are suspended.
Resolution number 2014-0247, a resolution making an award on requisition number 30402 to Oriana House Incorporated in the amount not to exceed $744,000 for the Cognitive Skills Development Program for the period July 1, 2014 through June 30, 2017, authorizing the county executive to execute the contract and all other documents consistent with said award and this resolution, and declaring the necessity that this resolution become immediately effective.
Move to adopt.
Second.
Moved by Mr. Gallagher and seconded by Mr. Germano. Mr. Gallagher, do you want to be heard on this?
Thank you, ma'am. This was heard in our committee. We held it over because of a concern with the Common Pleas Court. We got through that problem, and the court is convinced that the program will move forward on a timely basis. This provides alternative sentencing options for offenders with moderate to high risk scores and for offenders with technical violations in order for them to change their behaviors and attitudes by utilizing self-improvement sanctions. So the committee was convinced to move forward with this, and we would recommend adoption.
All right, any other questions? All those in favor indicate by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? And please mark me as abstaining or recusing. I'm on an advisory committee for Oriana House. All right, next item.
Resolution number 2014-0267, a resolution adopting the 2014-2015 biennial operating budget and capital improvements program annual update for 2015, and declaring the necessity that this resolution become immediately effective.
Move to adopt.
By Mr. Miller and seconded by Ms. Conwell. Mr. Miller, I understand you have a proposed substitutes on page 487.
Yes, I do. I would like to move the proposed substitute, and all the substitute does is that it puts into technical language the changes that were agreed to at the committee of the whole meeting last week.
Okay, is there a second on the substitute? Mr. Brady. So it's moved by Mr. Miller and seconded by Mr. Brady to substitute, to adopt the proposed substitute. All those in favor of the substitute indicate by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? The ayes have it, so we'll move forward on the substitute.
Madam President and my colleagues, this resolution updates the second year of the 2014 to 2015 biennial budget. Thanks to Directors Parks and Murray, Trevor McAleer, and my colleagues and the departmental directors for their help in completing a successful budget process. Being a second-year update, we did not hear all departments in a full process, but focused on proposed changes. Senate Bill 337 continues to have a major impact on juvenile court. We provided $2 million in additional funding above what the administration proposed. $500,000 for overtime in the detention center, and $1,500,000 for residential placement costs. We deferred the requested $500,000 secure shelter pilot for consideration by the new administration and our Public Safety Committee. Even the additional $2 million is probably not enough, but we're starting here and we'll monitor closely. We also provided $600,000 for the prosecutor's office for investigation based on the rape kit results to help get serious perpetrators off the streets. $332,000 to the Personnel Review Commission to help them carry out charter responsibilities to expand civil service testing and manage the classification system. $50,000 for much-needed additional bed bug assistance for seniors, $100,000 for a new college-level small business-oriented intern program, $220,000 to staff the Department of Sustainability approved by Council, $330,000 to fund a countywide grants management office to clear up audit issues related to state and federal grants and improve our management of these grants, and $80,000 for the Court of Appeals to implement electronic records. We believe that even with these additions, the County General Fund can operate at or close to balance in 2015. Some additional draw on Health and Human Services public assistance funds will be required, but the HHS levy fund remains in strong position. As always, good planning and evaluation of sustainability will be called on going into the 2016 to 17 biennial budget process. I ask for your support.
Thank you, Mr. Miller. Any questions of Mr. Miller? All right, all those in favor of the proposed substitute indicate by saying aye.
Aye.
Aye. Opposed? The ayes have it.
Madam
Next-
Chair?
Yes.
I'd like to ask my name be added as a sponsor on the resolution.
Okay, I think it's already on here. No, it is not.
Yeah.
Okay, next item.
Resolution number 2014-0273, a resolution making awards to various municipalities in the total amount of $1,469,440 for various municipal grant projects for the 2015 Community Development Block Grant Municipal Grant Program for the period January 1, 2015 through December 31, 2015, authorizing the county executive to execute the agreements and all other documents consistent with said awards and this resolution, and declaring the necessity that this resolution become immediately effective for the municipalities in the amounts not to exceed and for the projects as printed on the agenda for item number 3.
To adopt.
Moved by Ms. Simon and seconded by Mr. Hairston. Mr. Schron is not here, but we heard these in committee. You're on the Economic Development Committee?
I was, Madam President. We were able to entertain an explanation of the process by which these municipalities were selected for the grant, and look forward to next year about getting some ideas from the communities on how to improve the process. And so we recommended passage of this.
Right, questions, comments? All right, all those in favor indicate by saying aye. Aye. Opposed? The ayes have it. Next item.
Madam Chair, can I be added as a
Please
Sponsor on
add
that.
Mr. Germana.
I'd like to add my name as well.
Simon?
And mine as well.
Okay.
Okay, thank you. Resolution number 2014-0285, a resolution authorizing an amendment to contract number CE 1100-642 with HNTB Ohio Incorporated for design engineering services for reconstruction with additional turning lanes of Royalton Road from West 130th Street to York Road in the city of North Royalton to change the scope of services effective November 25th, 2014, and for additional funds in the amount not to exceed $1,486,115, authorizing the county executive to execute the amendment and all other documents consistent with this resolution, and declaring the necessity that this resolution become immediately effective.
Second.
Moved by Mr. Jones and seconded by Mr. Gallagher. Mr. Jones?
Well, the primary goal of this project is to provide design engineering services for Royalton Road from West 130th Street to York Road in the city of North Royalton. And I ask my colleagues to support this legislation.
Thank you, Mr. Jones. Any questions of him? All right, all those in favor indicate by saying aye. Aye. Opposed? The ayes have it. Next item.
Resolution number 2014-0286, a resolution authorizing an agreement with Mayfield Village for participation in the Cuyahoga County Benefits Regionalization Program for the period January 1, 2015 through December 31, 2017, authorizing the county executive to execute the agreement and all other documents consistent with this resolution, and declaring the necessity that this resolution become immediately effective.
Second.
Moved by Ms. Conwell and seconded by Mr. Jimana. Ms. Conwell?
Yes, Madam Chair. This is a renewal agreement for the city of Mayfield Village to participate in our benefits regionalization program. So I ask my colleagues to support it.
Thank you. Any questions? All right, all those in favor indicate by saying aye. Aye. Opposed? The ayes have it.
Resolution number 2014-0287, a resolution authorizing a contract with 3M Cogent Incorporated in the amount not to exceed $1,578,156.22 for hardware and software maintenance and support services for the automated fingerprint identification system for the period July 1, 2014 through June 30, 2019, authorizing the county executive to execute the contract and all other documents consistent with this resolution, and declaring the necessity that this resolution become immediately effective.
Second.
Moved by Mr. Gallagher, seconded by Mr. Jimana. Mr. Gallagher? Okay. It is self-explanatory. Any questions, comments? All right, all those in favor indicate by saying aye. Aye. Opposed? The ayes have it. We have a new fingerprint system.
Resolution number 2014-0288, a resolution authorizing an agreement with the Metro Health System in the amount not to exceed $18,845,022.45 for management, healthcare, and related services at the Cuyahoga County Correction Center for the period January 1, 2015 through December 31, 2019, authorizing the county executive to execute the agreement and all other documents consistent with this resolution, and declaring the necessity that this resolution become immediately effective.
Move to adopt.
Second.
Moved by Mr. Gallagher and seconded by Mr. Jimana. Any comment?
Ma'am, thank you very much. This really has been a work of love by the committee. We've worked tirelessly for a couple of years on this, and really, I think when we got elected, we were brought here to find out ways to coordinate and cooperate with other entities within the county to save money, and this is an example of that. With our partners over at Metro, we now have services for those in the jail, medical services. I'd like to thank the sheriff and his staff, my committee, again, who worked tirelessly on this. We did site visits, we did just about everything we could. We had difficult times, we had some easier times, but now that we're at the end, this is really something to be proud of. By this entire council. I would hope everybody, I'm certain everybody would vote for this. I did a walkthrough with the sheriff, and a couple others were there with me, and there was a gentleman being observed by a Metro doctor at the hospital while he was in the jail, and he was crying, and I asked the sheriff, I said, well, what's wrong with him? And the sheriff said that he had never had medical services like this in his entire life. And so we were able to provide this gentleman with medical services for a heart condition that more likely than not would have gone undetected. And who knows what would have happened. So just a prime example of how important this can be, and that every life is certainly worth the effort. So we would highly recommend passage of this.
Madam Chair,
Thank you, Mr. Gallagher. Mr. Jimana?
I just want to commend Chairman Gallagher on the accomplishment of this. Having served 4 years, I think this is one of the greatest accomplishments that council has been able to do through committee. And having walked through the jail with the chairman, we're going to have, and once the savings come out because of the transportation savings we're going to have, this is definitely, a home run. And congratulate Mr. Gallagher. It was primarily his baby on this one.
Yeah, I second your comments. This is really a major accomplishment.
And Madam Chairperson, I also want to compliment Councilman Gallagher. And, I can remember, I'm sure as everybody does, that this really was a 4-year process. And this kind of a relationship with our public hospital is really something unique. It's amazing that we've had a public hospital and not had that kind of relationship for so many years, but it was very complicated, and so I'm very happy to see the success.
Madam Chair, it can't go unsaid that this really took off when Dr. Boutros came on. So we would not be here without him and his team and his instruction to his folks at Metro to get this job done.
Right. All those in favor indicate by saying aye. Aye. Opposed? The ayes have it. Congratulations, Mr. Gallagher. Consideration of resolutions for third reading adoption.
Resolution number 2014-0248, a resolution authorizing a contract with Court Community Service in the amount not to exceed $555,000 for the Community Work Service Placement and Supervision Program for the period January 1, 2015 through December 31, 2017, authorizing the county executive to execute the contract and all other documents consistent with this resolution, and declaring the necessity that this resolution become immediately effective.
Moved by Ms. Conwell.
Second.
Seconded by Mr. Miller. Did this go to a committee, or do you have any comment on this? It's pretty self-explanatory.
Yes, Madam Chair, way back, they went to committee and then came out for second reading and at the last meeting, and this is just the third reading.
Okay. All right, all those in favor indicate by saying aye. Aye. Opposed? The ayes have it. Next item.
Resolution number 2014-0258, a resolution making an award on requisition number 30390 to Caremark PCS Health in the amount not to exceed $40,189,733 for group health care benefits for county employees and their eligible dependents, including pharmacy benefit management services for the period January 1, 2015 through December 31, 2017, authorizing the county executive to execute the contract and all other documents consistent with said award and this resolution, and declaring the necessity that this resolution become immediately effective.
Move to adopt.
Well, and seconded by Mr. Germana. Anyone want to be heard on this item?
Yes, Madam Chair, I'd like to thank Councilman Gallagher once again for stepping in my stead and chairing the committee, but all three documents are self-explanatory. It's for the next 3 years for the county employees' health care benefits. It does not include the stop-loss insurance, which will be brought forth in January. So I ask that my colleagues support.
Favor indicate by saying aye. Aye. Opposed? The ayes have it. Next item.
Resolution number 2014-0259, a resolution making an award on requisition number 30390 to Medical Mutual of Ohio in the amount not to exceed $116,156,022 for group health care benefits for county employees and their eligible dependents, including medical and pharmacy benefit management services for the period January 1, 2015 through December 31, 2017, authorizing the county executive to execute the contract and all other documents consistent with said award and this resolution, and declaring the necessity that this resolution become immediately effective.
Mr. Greenspan and seconded by Mr. Hairston. Mr. Brady, do you want to be heard on this? Or I guess this is just, it's pretty much self-explanatory. It's part of the same healthcare package that Ms. Conwell talked about. Right. All right, all those in favor indicate by saying aye. Aye. Opposed? The ayes have it. Next item.
Resolution number 2014-0260, a resolution making an award on requisition number 30390 to United Healthcare Services Incorporated in the amount not to exceed $68,308,890 for group health care benefits for county employees and their eligible dependents, including medical benefit management services for the period January 1, 2015 through December 31, 2017, authorizing the county executive to execute the contract and all other documents consistent with said award and this resolution, and declaring the necessity that this resolution become immediately effective.
Second.
Moved by Mr. Hairston, seconded by Mr. Jimana. This is the third part of the package for health care benefits for the employees. Anything else you want to add, Ms. Conwell? All right, all those in favor indicate by saying aye.
Aye.
Aye. Opposed? The ayes have it. Next item.
Ms. Conwell, your colleagues voted in the affirmative on the prior item, number 3. Would you also like to?
Yes.
Thank you. Resolution number 2014-0268, a resolution approving the Metro Health System Year 2015 budget in accordance with Ohio Revised Code, Section 339.06D, with the understanding that the allocation of county funds to the system will be made through adoption of the 2014-2015 biennial operating budget and capital improvements program annual update for 2015, and declaring the necessity that this resolution become immediately effective.
Move to adopt.
Moved by Mr. Miller and seconded by Mr. Brady. Mr. Miller, do you want to be heard?
Madam President, my colleagues, this resolution approves the Metro Health budget along with the budget update that we passed earlier today, and we are not changing the Metro Health subsidy from what we had previously adopted in the biennial budget. Thank you.
So we're required by the Ohio Revised Code to adopt this budget.
That's correct.
All right, any questions, comments? All right, all those in favor indicate by saying aye.
Aye.
Aye. Opposed? The ayes have it. Next item.
Resolution number 2014-0269, a resolution making an award on requisition number 27440 to Time Warner Cable Enterprises in the amount not to exceed $258,000 for dark fiber maintenance services for the period October 1, 2014 through September 30, 2019, authorizing the county executive to execute the contract and all other documents consistent with said award and this resolution, and declaring the necessity that this resolution become immediately effective.
Move to adopt.
Second.
Moved by Mr. Miller and seconded by Ms. Conwell.
Madam President,
Mr. Miller.
my colleagues, we heard this legislation in Finance and Budgeting Committee. It's a 5-year, $258,000 contract with Time Warner to maintain the county's fiber network that connects to 10 buildings where county employees work. The monthly rate of $4,300 is unchanged from the previous contract. I ask for your support.
Thank you, Mr. Miller. Any other questions, comments? Okay, all those in favor indicate by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? The ayes have it. Next item.
Resolution number 2014-0274, a resolution making awards on requisition number 29884 to various appraisers in the total amount of $911,000 for real estate appraisal services subject to sheriff's sale for the period August 1, 2014 through July 31, 2016, and authorizing the county executive to execute the contracts and all other documents consistent with said awards and this resolution, and declaring the necessity that this resolution become immediately effective for the appraisers as listed on the agenda under item number 7.
Move to adopt.
Moved by Ms. Conwell and seconded by Mr. Gallagher. Any discussion on this item? All right, all those in favor indicate by saying aye.
Aye.
Aye. Opposed? The ayes have it. Item F, consideration of an ordinance for first reading and referral to committee. And I think are there some corrections on this? Jean?
Madam Chair, the law director had called me and asked that I make minor technical changes just to the title itself so that it would read correctly into the record. So therefore, I'd like to read it as he has suggested
Okay.
at this time for its official reading. Ordinance number 2014-0037, an ordinance amending the county's contracting procedures by 1, replacing Chapter 503 of the county code to accept and adopt the county's 2014 disparity study and the Community Benefit and Opportunity Initiative report, and to establish the county's equal opportunity programs, and 2, amending Chapter 501 of the county code and declaring the necessity that this ordinance become immediately effective. Additionally, Councilmember Miller has requested to be a sponsor on this legislation.
And this matter will go to Public Works, and this is the one, save your books, because we don't want to have to reprint all, however many, 600 pages or whatever.
Amen.
Yeah, I'd like to have my name added also. Conwell and Connolly.
Mr. Mayor,
Hairston.
If I could add, this truly has been a labor of love over 3 years, and I like to go back to December of 2010 when we were transitioning. It was the director of OPD, Lenore Lockett, who brought this subject to all of the council in that transition time. So after that initial presentation, it really had an impact on all of us. And I want to congratulate all of my colleagues who have worked diligently on this over the last few years. This disparity study, as we know, the results have come back that there is a racial disparity in the contracting, whether we're doing road work or development, whatever that might be. And I'll say this, over the years, I've heard an expression frequently used when dealing with billions of dollars of development, and that expression is, a rising tide lifts all boats. Well, our study has shown that tide has not traveled inland for boats throughout every corner of this county. So we now know that is a fact, and we have an opportunity through this community benefit initiative, where this study will be a powerful tool. Our community benefit initiative will be able to create those inroads that will allow that tide to reach every corner of this county. So it will not only help with a race-conscious effort, but we will strengthen our non-race conscious programming and our small business enterprise program. So those billions of dollars that flow through this county, the residents and stakeholders of this county will certainly get a larger share of the work that is generated in their own county. So I look forward to this coming to committee and allowing the public to officially have their say in the development and passage of this legislation.
All right, thank you. All right, any miscellaneous, we can adopt this. No, we just referred to committee, okay. Referred to committee, all right. Miscellaneous committee reports. Any miscellaneous committee reports?
Madam President, our committee, Council Operations and Intergovernmental Relations, will meet Monday at 9 a.m. to discuss the two matters in committee.
Anyone else? Any other miscellaneous reports? Mr. Brady, I think we're calling on you for miscellaneous business.
Yes, we have a little special miscellaneous business this evening. Has the program been passed out? And pass out the program, thank you.
Okay.
The resolution itself, is it? Let's pass this out.
I'm going to leave.
It won't be that painful. After 4 years, this is the final meeting chaired by Council President C. Ellen Conley, the first Council President in the history of our new government. It seems really not like yesterday. It seems like quite a while ago that we walked, not in here, but in the first of 3 buildings that we've been in over the last 4 years. And that's sort of kind of like what we've been through. We've been building a government, and I think it was uncertain what the county council would be. And in some quarters, it was perhaps considered it wouldn't be much. Unfortunately, for those who might have thought that or hoped for that, the people that were elected to the county council had a different idea. And but we were led through this entire process, which built a bipartisan, independent institution by our leader and Council President Ellen Conley. And so tonight, I'd like to ask for your support for this resolution, which will dedicate these chambers to be the C. Ellen Conley Council Chambers, so that her time as the first council president will always be enshrined in this room. And since it's a new building, that should be a while. And so with that, we'll have, members will have a chance to speak in a few seconds, but I'd like to make a motion to add our 2014-0302 to the agenda in accordance with Rule 6B and ask for a second. And I'd like to ask for a voice vote. All those in favor say aye. Aye. All those opposed? All right. Next, I'm going to move to and ask for a suspension of Rule 9D and 12A, and ask for a second.
Second.
Ask for a voice vote. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
All right. Now, clerk, would you please read the resolution?
Resolution number 2014-0302, a resolution dedicating the Cuyahoga County Council Chambers in honor of Council President C. Ellen Conley, and it is sponsored by Council members Brady, Conwell, Gallagher, Germana, Greenspan, Hairston, Jones, Miller, Schron, and Simon.
Oh, for my part, I'd just like to say that it's been quite an adventure over 4 years. A lot of twists and turns and a lot of challenges, and just thank you so much for your service. Won't be the same without you. I'd like to ask for any of my colleagues if they would like to make a comment at this time. This would be the best time to do it. Councilwoman Conwell.
You're one of the best, and we're going to miss you, and I'm glad I know where you live. So I'll look you up.
Okay.
Simon.
Thank you very much. It was a privilege to serve with the president. I was the VP for our first round of this, and two women, I think, set the groundwork for the future council. But what's going to stand out for me with council president is her sense of humor, and always never failed to make me laugh, found humor in things, and I always appreciate that. That's going to be missed. The sense of history, the context, when we brought our historical, we have a commission now that will address the monuments, and I thought that was really, really apropos, given that that's going to be the future, and our president really set that foundation. And also your legal skills and the judicial background, I thought were really, really essential to help build this body, and I don't think we would have this strong of a foundation without those skills. So I want to say thank you, and it's been a privilege, and we'll miss definitely the sense of humor. Oh, my comrade and dog, appreciating dogs. So I guess Mr. Gallagher now is going to have to step
Councilman
up.
Miller. Councilman Miller.
Madam President, when I came in here, I was one that believed that this council would play a very significant role and not just be a rubber stamp at the 30,000-foot level. But not everybody agreed with that, and I think that you more than anybody else provided the strong leadership and the independence and the strength to mold this council into a strong institution, and I think that is going to have a long-lasting and positive impact on Cuyahoga County. I also want to thank you for twice appointing me as the chairman of the Finance and Budgeting Committee, which enabled me to use skills that I think were helpful to the county, and I appreciate that opportunity very much. And also, I want to commend you for your leadership regarding taking proper care of the county's archives. I think that you were wise, and that history will judge favorably on your slowing down that process, and so that we could make sure that the archives are not just simply moved, but they're also properly taken care of. And it's still a work in progress, but I believe that we're going to get there, and it's going to be very, very good for the county. And finally, I just want to say that you've always been accessible. I can't think of anybody that more often that I would call on their cell phone and you'd answer, and I think I think that enabled all of us to be more effective because you were available to us, you worked with us, and so I appreciate your leadership and wish you well.
Councilman Germana.
Madam Chairman, I just want to tell you that you set a standard. You brought dignity to this council. You showed wisdom in your assigning different committee chairmen according to their ability and what their hot buttons were. And overall, you were fair and brought fairness. And most importantly, and I think everybody realizes this about county council, you were nonpartisan. And should be congratulated for that, and you will be missed.
Thank you.
Councilman Jones.
Well, Council President, I'm going to say I'm going to miss you. I've enjoyed working with you over these years, and I'll say this, one thing I've truly respected about you is that you stood by your convictions, regardless of how the winds have blown and what everyone outside of this council said you should or should not be doing. You continue to lead this ship and keep it going in the right direction. So I think we can truly live up to that 7th grade social studies statement that we have 3 branches of government, separate but equal. And I thank you for that.
Well, thank you.
We're not done.
Okay.
Without the G-Man?
Councilman Gallagher.
Big man here.
I gotta tell you, you know, there's different kinds of Irish, and I'm the emotional kind. But I've been blessed in my career. I worked at the court for 30 years. And I worked with what could be considered if there was a Mount Rushmore of judges, I worked with them. They were the 27 Yankees. But I also learned that with judges come quirks. And after the election, Ellen got elected, and somebody asked me, what do you think? And I said, geez, I'm a little bit nervous. Because I just didn't know, because there are some quirks I can't talk about with some folks. And I feel comfortable saying that because my sister's a judge, or one of you. But we came in here, and I like to tell people that it was like walking down a dark hallway. And we didn't know where we were going. But you were the light at the end of that hallway. And like Dorothy said, I think I'm going to miss you the most.
Thank you. Oh, thank you. How did you stick those in and I didn't see them? Do I get to talk now?
No, not yet.
Hold on.
So thanks for that, Mike. I don't have any flowers. And,
No, you're okay.
this is, as most of you know, this is not the first time I've been involved in the formation of a new government, and I don't think that we realize what we've started here. I think Mike and my colleagues hit it on the head when we started this 4 years ago. We met at CSU that first Monday after the election. Some of us had never met before. And we had within 8 weeks to come together and coalesce to form a legislative body in the 29th largest county in the country and be responsible for $1.3 billion and 1.3 million people. And quickly, we came together, and I can tell you that the word that I would use to describe Ellen through that process and through the first 4 years is simply courageous. She went out on a limb. There were discussions about where some members of council might be placed insofar as the committee assignment process, and the process was done in a way that exemplified the skills of each of us and not based on any other criteria. And that, I would imagine, not knowing most of us, was a leap of faith in a lot of ways, but a leap of faith in the direction to represent all segments of our county fairly and equally. And I believe she did that. You will be missed. And I have told people over the years, and Ellen, we've had these conversations where you have clearly been the rock that's guided this council through some pretty tumultuous times. And the greatest loss to date, no disrespect to Mr. Rogers, who's in the audience today, your presence will be sorely missed. And although I know you will no longer be sitting in that seat, I can envision you sitting right out there or watching, texting us as the meetings are going on, telling us, giving us advice. But I will miss your friendship in these chambers, but not your friendship outside these chambers, because those relationships will be long, and I hope very, very meaningful. And thank you for everything you've meant to this county.
Save
the best for last, huh?
Last but not least, right.
I am. Madam President, being the newest member to this council, being the newest member to anything that you do is always tough. You were the first phone call I received that morning after I was appointed to replace former Councilman Julian Rogers, and from that day to today, you have been nothing but supportive, welcoming, and a person that I can always lean on in time of question. I'm glad that you chose not to leave this council before I was able to serve with someone who have had such distinguished career in public service that you have had. Just want to say thank you so much for your time of service these last 4 years and your time of service as a judge in Cleveland Municipal Court. So again, thank you. You will be missed. Although I've only served with you 9 months, I will miss you.
Thank you.
All right.
You're so anxious. I guess I'm going to go ahead and let you go. I was going to.
No, go ahead.
Okay, all right. I want to stick to the program, but
Fix the program.
it's, okay. Great. We have some tokens of our appreciation. Although Councilman Gallagher beat us to the punch a little bit here.
Excuse me, Mr. Brady, did you
Yes.
want to
Oh,
vote
I'm sorry,
on
we
the
should adopt the resolution.
Yes, sir.
Yes, oh, yes. First, I'd like to move and ask for a second to adopt Resolution 2014-030-02. All those in favor say aye. Aye. Opposed?
With the council president recusing herself.
I'll recuse myself, okay.
Okay, well, it's done. The council chamber is now officially C. Ellen Connolly Council Chamber.
Mr. Chair. Mr. Chair,
So these two?
Okay. Yes, we've got some stuff for you here.
Oh my God, was that beautiful? Can you pick this up? It's a gavel? Oh, wow, thank you so much.
I hope you appreciate the gavel, because the one thing a chairman always misses is the gavel.
It's got my name on it. I have to go back to being a judge.
All right. I think we have one of our only former colleague so far, Julian Rogers here, if you'd like to come forward and have a few words to say. We appreciate you seeing you again. Julian?
Thank you, colleagues. It's a pleasure to be here. I just want to say it's nice to be in front of this fancy new chambers that you have. But to our president, President Connolly, I just want to echo what my colleagues have said. You really were instrumental in leading us when we really didn't know what we were doing. And someone stepped forward, and you were there to provide that guiding light, as it was said. And I really appreciate all that I've learned from you. I appreciate what Mr. Jones said, that you always stuck to what you felt was right, which was so vitally important, because we were, throughout the course of this, we are always getting different viewpoints put in our ears, and to have that steady person there to make sure that we're staying true to what the residents of Cuyahoga County need us to do was very important. So I appreciate you stepping forward. I appreciate your leadership, and I was very happy and pleased to serve with you and the other colleagues up here on the dais. So thank you for the opportunity.
Thank you, Julian.
Good to see you. Not quite yet. All right. We have a former staff member who really was very instrumental in the first few years of founding this council, our friend, Joanne Gross.
Joanne Gross, for those of you who don't know me, and I'm speaking because the other people still work here. I don't think you will ever get the credit, as much as people try to say, I don't think you will ever get the credit you deserve for keeping people focused in those initial, particularly that initial first year when we had this charter and you kept saying, what does it say? It's our Constitution. What does it say? And again, your judicial background just helped immensely in that. I also want to say that I personally admire your loyalty to your family and your friends, your colleagues, your many acts of generosity and community service that people don't know about. I admire your adventurous spirit and your love of books and music and travel. You are truly a Renaissance woman. Finally, we all know that you have never been one to mince words. And some might say, sometimes you say outrageous things. But many, if not most of the things that you say and have said here in your tenure have carried with it such an element of truth and were things that needed to be said. So congratulations, thank you for all your service, and it was a great honor to work for you. Thank you.
Thank you, Joan.
I believe we have one more speaker. If I'm wrong, I'm wrong. Linda Mayer of the Women League of Voters.
I would like to read for President Connolly a letter from the president of our league, who is not able to be here tonight, so I'm speaking for her. And I think we have never done this before. I don't know if we'll do it again. We watch lots of governments, but this one feels a bit like partly ours. And so I would like to read this letter and then give a copy of it to President Connolly. On behalf of the members of the League of Women Voters of Greater Cleveland, and especially on behalf of our numerous council observers since 2010, I wish to express to you our sincere gratitude for the considerable service that you've rendered to county residents as president of our very first county council. You have had to fashion for yourself and wear all manner of new hats.
I like hats.
Those of inventor, band leader, pioneer, scholar, politician, arbitrator, advocate, shepherd, and cheerleader. And you've worn these hats with style, skill, good humor, and obviously a great deal of homework. League observers have always appreciated your easy approachability and willingness to explain or discuss the issues and processes currently before council. You've graciously welcomed our input, regardless of whether you did or didn't agree with it. More importantly, you've treated the public the same way, with respect as well as with interest and empathy for their concerns. With these thoughts in mind, we want here to wish you a long and very interesting retirement. I put quotations around retirement. We ask of you only one more favor, and that is that you will continue to put in plugs wherever you can for good government, of the kind to which we have grown accustomed during these last 4 years. Your successors will soon inherit from you a sensible, open, and smoothly functioning system for deliberating and doing the public's business in Cuyahoga County. They and we will always be in your debt.
Thank you very much.
All right, you're up.
You guys took all my good stuff. I had all these good things to say, but, okay, I'll kind of have to edit my speech now, but,
Okay. Excuse
I don't
me.
believe this.
Excuse me, this is probably not the moment. I also come with a letter for Mr. Fitzgerald that I would love to read,
all right.
but possibly you want to put that at another spot on the agenda.
Yeah.
We could just wait till this is over.
Sure. I can't believe this. I don't believe you guys did this. I'm up? Okay, all right. Yeah, you took all my good stuff, so now I'm kind of discombobulated, but I think it's like 4 years ago, I ran into Dan Brady at this party, and we were saying, like, what did we get ourselves into? And, I thought it was going to be like a nice little part-time job, and I could have some other things. Maybe I get my job back at the law school, and, it was kind of like my perception. It wouldn't be like every day. Well, I didn't realize this was hardly going to be a part-time job, but it became a full-time job. And as Joanne said, we had this charter, and we had to create and massage and shape a workable institution so that we could function on a daily basis. And, we had no traditions, we had no committees, we had to do everything from scratch. So it was really a lot of work, and we all worked together on that. So, we all sort of got off to on a rocky road. We had a lot of, I thought, unnecessary criticism from the media in the beginning. But eventually the media and the public realized that we were here to work, to create something new, and that we were working for the betterment of all the citizens. They came to realize that we were the checks and balances and the segment of government that had the ability to review the decisions of the executive and the voice of the people, and that's what representative democracy is about. So we are the keeper of the purse strings, and we ask the questions, and through the committee process, and I'd like to thank all the committee chairmen because they've really done a lot of hard work. So it's been a pleasure working with all of you, and I really appreciate your continued support. This council has grown from a group of elected officials who didn't even know each other to a group that had, and we started out with no staff, no offices, no provisions, so now we're able to work together. So we survived 4 moves, as somebody else said. I was a judge for 24 years, and I moved twice. I had this job for 4 years, and my office moved 4 times. And of course, we lost Julian to moved on to better things, and Joanne and Nikki Mueller and George Phillips all moved on to bigger and better things. And it's been a pleasure to work with Andy Tobias over the last 2 years from the Plain Dealers. He's made himself aware of the issues, and as a result, for the most part, he's provided fair and unbiased reporting, and that has made the job a lot easier for us and allowed the public to get a better perception of the council. There has been a lot of hard work done in the formation of this council, but I would like to thank one of the unsung heroes of county government, and that's Joe Nani. He has his skill, his knowledge and professionalism, and institutionalist memory has made this council work. As our chief of staff, he deserves as much credit as the rest of us in council for keeping this council working and strong. And Trevor McAleer has been Joe's right hand. He's been an integral part of keeping this county and the millions of dollars we spend in perspective. His sharp pencil and accounting skills have been invaluable. Between him, Greenspan, and Miller, I think they've burned out 3 or 4 calculators. Joe and Trevor work together and have been the very foundation of the operation of this council. And to keep us on track, they have always tell us to speak in moderation with common sense and give us sage advice. And of course, Jean Smotzer and her clerks, they keep our agenda running, and they keep all of our records and make sure that we comply with the statutes and the rules. And the rest of our staff, Khalil Sarin, Mike King, Levin Ross, and Chrissy Kulik, a big thank you. So it's been 4 years. I'd like to thank the citizens of District 9 for electing me and the members of council for electing me to serve as president. But as you know, life goes on and the torch has to be passed, and we moved on. So it's time for me to do something else and do some other things. I see my successor, Chantel Brown, is here, and I wish her the best. And you guys got to take care of Chantel and teach her the ropes. So this is something like my third retirement. I keep saying that I'm actually going to retire. I'm actually going to write that dissertation that still hangs over my head so that I can actually be PhD rather than ABD, which means all but dissertation. But I'll probably never get that done, but I've got lots of books to read. If I stack all the books up in my house, I'll be reading for the next 20 years or so. I've got lots of places to travel on my bucket list and a myriad of other things. I have enough yarn to knit for the next 10 years or so. And I've got lots of things to accomplish, but I keep getting other jobs and things to do. So it's unlikely I'll be going away. The Plain Dealer keeps using this, this little hashtag, I'm retiring from public life. Well, I didn't exactly say that, so don't bury me too quickly. This may not be my last gig. And when the Republican convention comes to Cleveland in 2016, I want to make sure that they are aware of our 8 Ohio presidents and see the great political and history of our city, our state, and our county. And I'm on the board of the Ohio Historical Society, so I'm looking forward to working on the restoration of the Garfield Monument. I will be out hustling the pink ribbon breast cancer survivor plates, making sure you buy those for your car. And I'll be dropping in on council meetings when there's items of my of interest on the agenda. 3 minutes? Oh, shut up. I got ahead. I'm looking forward. In looking forward, I do have one hope for the new administration, and that is that we have better communication between council and the administration. As the two branches of government, we need to work together and let the information flow so that council is not always trying to catch up, and we can be proactive in the planning discussions. And Metro Hospital and its services provides, it's probably the most important function that we have. I hope that in the coming years, this council will strengthen its involvement with the hospital. This is a crucial time in the hospital's future, and the funding, and we, as the funding source, council needs to be involved in the future of the hospital. And as I warned at the last meeting, I want to make sure that any changes in state legislation be carefully reviewed and done with extreme caution. Metro Hospital is our major asset, and we look forward to, we need to protect it and make sure that it continues to fulfill its promise to have health services for every citizen in the county. So as conclusion, it's been a great 4 years, and now it's time to move on. I thank all of your support. I will be around for another 21 days, so don't, I will be around for 21 days, so if anything happens, I'm still here. And I'll be here on January 2nd to pass the gavel. I look forward to seeing all of the employees in the building for donuts and coffee on the 18th of this month for holiday cheer and a goodbye. So don't bury me too quickly. My mother was 101. My aunt is 103. So I've got a few more years and a few more miles before I sleep. Thank you. Thank you so much. Thank you. I cannot believe you got my belt on here. I cannot believe this.
Got
cannot believe
some
this.
friends of yours. One of the things that the council president does that a lot of people don't know is she's part
Do I have
of.
to ring? Do I need a ring?
You can if you want, it's up to you.
What are we playing?
This is not scripted.
I don't have gloves. I don't have gloves. That's okay. They can actually prove that right.
Okay. These are the Bells of the Savior Choir. She definitely is not retiring, is she?
I have a B flat C. Okay, hold on, wait a second, hold on. Who's playing with me? Okay. Hold on, Okay, all right.
President, I
Yes.
just want to remind everybody that after the meeting, there'll be refreshments in the lobby for a little socializing. So,
Okay, is there any other business before this council? I lost my agenda here somewhere.
you'll need public comment. Public comment.
Any public comment unrelated to the agenda?
I have no one that has signed to speak. However, I don't know if there's anyone else who wanted
Okay.
to address you.
If nothing else, this is my last, well, we have one more meeting, but it'll be very quick, but it'll be a special meeting. But other than that, we stand adjourned. Thank you so much.
Aye.